With the development of the Marconi campus in downtown Sydney, maybe it's time to talk about parking again. Tensions have been rising lately in parking lots of the local restaurant and even at the local startup co-working space. Hi, I'm Joe Ward of Boxer Shorts Media, and we've talked about parking before. However, I don't think there's any clear indication that there's a big push to make improvements prior to the opening of the new Marconi, and that's going to flood the downtown with over 1,000 students and staff each day. The parking issue comes up quite often. I usually find the tone of, well, it's there if you look hard enough, to be unhelpful. Before I bring up some of the incidents that occurred this week in the downtown, let me be clear. It's our responsibility as drivers to park correctly, legally, to respond to property boundaries and restrictions, and to observe all signage. I also understand that trying to find a spot can be frustrating, and some folks may believe that if a lot is open, it might be up for grabs if they're just real quick or will only be there for a second. The first incident this week caught my attention when a downtown restaurant posted a hand-drawn map of their parking lot and warned customers that parking outside of the designated area could result in towing or booting. Apparently, the restaurant lot borders a parking lot that is used for lot rentals, and they require a parking badge to be displayed in authorized vehicles. Many of the spots may be rented by locals who work at Citizenship and would rather pay to secure a reliable spot than to struggle to find a spot on their way to work. Commenters in the social media posting suggested that some cars were being towed and some were being booted, which means preventing them from leaving and locked in place with a mechanical tire lock only the tow company can remove. I'm not sure how much the fee is to recover a car from either situation, but I'm sure it's something significant, not to mention a huge inconvenience. If the folks being towed or booted ignored the no parking signs, I know some of you will be completely unsympathetic to their plight. But the reality is, if it was very easy to park in the downtown nearby to that restaurant, they would be less likely to do so. The issue does affect local business, and it will get worse as there's increased activity in the downtown. Now, the second incident isn't as clear-cut. It turned up on a local Facebook group called You Park Like a Breton. This group posts pictures captured of local drivers who've parked in an illegal, dangerous, or inconsiderate way. The picture is of a truck parked only inches away from the driver's side of a small SUV, and the caption notes that the SUV was parked there first. As it turns out, the parking lot was at the Navigate Startup House, and the driver identified himself in the comments. The truck owner is the operations manager of the startup house. As the comments revealed, he considered the SUV to be taking up 2 parking spaces, despite the lot being gravel and not having any lot divisions. But the Navigate manager claimed that the driver parks willy-nilly and left too large of a gap between her vehicle and the dumpster to her right, further suggesting that if she had more consideration for others visiting the building, she would have parked more carefully to ensure that there was more space for another car. But the woman who owned the car showed up in the comments as well, noting there were several empty places in the lot at the time, and that the building manager had to ask the Navigate guy to move his truck. Clearly unimpressed by his action to box her in, she posed the question of, what's tomorrow's lesson? So there you have it, folks. Parking lot tensions can rise even at a local startup co-working space. Let's just be thankful that it wasn't MP Jaime Batiste who parked too far away from the dumpster when he was there to announce just under $1 million in a grant for Navigate last week. But now the bigger question, what are some of the solutions? Firstly, the CBRM has to take parking challenges seriously and prepare for the magnified problem that will occur as the Marconi campus opens up and brings more vehicles to the downtown area. They'll have their own lot with some capacity, but perhaps the primary objective of them locating in the downtown in the first place was to increase activity for local businesses. Active transportation or public transit isn't going to be the definitive solution here. Although aspirational, clearly nobody is heading to the Marconi campus from Lewisburg on their bicycle or the bus that doesn't run there. If there's any will towards building a parking structure or a park and ride type of lot in the close vicinity of the downtown, they need to accelerate the work on that file. However, they might also want to examine the relationship with the local tow industry and make sure that lots don't become a feeding frenzy for the local tow company. A solution could be a bylaw that limits the fees that could be imposed or requires that towing can only be done if there are no vacancies in the lot, with booting used instead, or perhaps even obligating them to return the car from the impound at no cost if the impound is more than 3 kilometers away. Obviously, this requires more thought, but we're a small city, and evolving into big city aggressiveness works against what we're trying to achieve, or at least it should. I understand that the Marconi strategy is to bring life back to the downtown and foster economic development, but the last thing we want for it is to be stressful and costly for drivers to try to find a place to park. Do you remember the downtown revitalization consultant Roger Brooks? He evaluated us and gave us a talk. He's largely effective in pointing out practical solutions. And one of his recommendations after being shown the various parking spaces in the downtown was to suggest that we make sure people can actually find them. And many of his suggestions related to signage. I think that's a start, but we can also do better. And I'm personally very bullish on a parking structure or park and ride. For more videos, please remember to subscribe to Boxer Shorts Media via your choice of Facebook or YouTube, whichever you prefer.
Please hang up and try again.